Biggest questions for teams entering in the 2024 season, we got the Texas Longhorns. It's hard not to look at the receiver room based on what they lost last year as the biggest question mark. And truthfully, it might be the only question mark that they have. They return a lot as a team. They're going to be entering in the SEC. Were a playoff team last year. They're going to be really good. Their biggest question, I think, is going to be their receiver room. They lost Xavier Worthy, A.D. Mitchells, J.T. Sanders, Jordan Whittington. All these guys were elite for Texas. Got them to the college football playoff. They all had really great years. All of them are now leaving. Now, at the end of the year for Texas, Sark was left with just 3 guys on his team in the receiver room that were going to be on scholarship. So he needed to address that problem through the transfer portal. And what did he do? He brought in 4 transfers to fill out this receiver room. Matthew Golden, the transfer from Houston. This is a guy who's going to be fast, good hands. He'll be able to peel the top off of a defense. They brought in Isaiah Bond. Everyone remembers him from the Auburn game. He had a really great year at Alabama. He transferred to Texas once the Nick Saban news dropped. We got Oregon State transfer Silas Bolden, and then also Alabama transfer tight end Amari Niblack to try to replace J.T. Sanders at the tight end position. So they lost a lot of great, exceptional talent, and that's going to be really hard to replace. These guys will be pretty good. I'm not sure they're going to live up to the expectations of that room prior, but I think they'll fill in the gaps where needed, and they're going to be loaded everywhere else. They returned 4 starters on the offensive line, including Kelvin Banks. They're returning Quinn Ewers. They're returning C.J. Baxter at the running back position. So they have a lot going forward for their offense. Now, back to the receiver room. These are just some of the four guys that they brought in through a transfer portal. They got a lot of young guys also on their roster in this receiver room that they have a lot of hopes for. They have Jonte Cook coming back. He was really the only guy who had any production that is returning for this year. He had 8 catches last year. He had some spark, and like these 8 catches, that was the most of any receiver for the Texas Longhorns that's going to be returning this year. So hopefully he'll be in the mix. That's at least what Texas is hoping for, that he'll shine out a little bit more like he did last year, briefly. Then they also got DeAndre Moore Jr. and Ryan Niblett. They got some burn last year, very little, some snaps, no catches amongst the two of them, but it was a very crowded and elite receiver room last year. It was just hard for them to get on the field. And on top of that, probably their brightest shining star is the 5-star freshman Ryan Wingo, 5-star recruit, 6'2", 205, great speed, a lot of length. Outstanding receiver. I think he'll make a pretty big impression on that receiver room this year, and he'll get a lot of burn. But like I said, there's not a lot of questions for this Texas team. I think they're maybe in like top 2, top 3 in the national championship odds. So they're in a good place. So, and Sark did a good job trying to adjust the receiver room. So we'll see how they all play out. Excited to watch.